In this video, we are going to be doing the chain rule in derivatives. This is going to be part 4 of my derivatives video, so let's get started. So since this is level 4, this is going to be harder, so I recommend watching my videos from earlier. If you want to review what chain rule is quickly, you can look at this formula. And you also want to memorize these trig values. Okay, so let's get started with our first question. Since today's video has a lot of trig values, we're gonna need to bring this down. Okay, so for our first question, let's find the derivative of sine of cosine of 2x cubed. So pause the video and find the derivative of that. Okay, so there are 3 layers. The outside layer is sine, the next layer is cosine, and the inside layer is 2x cubed. So we work from outside inwards, right? So first we need to find the derivative of the sine value. So let's find that. So the derivative of sine, from as we knew before, is cosine. So cosine x So cosine of x times cosine of 2x cubed. And don't worry, we're going to simplify this. So now that we have the outside of the derivative done, now we find the derivative of the inside here. So the derivative of that is negative sine 2x cubed. So now we multiply it by, you don't need the multiplication symbol. So negative sine of 2x cubed. And now we find the derivative of this. And for that, all we need to do is the power rule. So the derivative of that is 3 times 2, 6. So 6x squared. And now we multiply everything. So these two numbers get multiplied, or these two terms. So the negative from the negative sign multiplied by the 6x squared. So that's going to be negative 6x squared multiplied by cosine of 2x cubed multiplied by sine of 2x cubed. And that is our answer. And the prime stands for, like this tick mark, that sign stands for the derivative. So yeah, this is the answer. Okay. On to the next question. So this one is the same principle. What is the derivative of cosine of sine of 3x squared plus 4? So pause the video and solve and find the derivative. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused the video, so let's get started. So y equals And this is our equation, and now we find the derivative. So y prime equals negative sine of sine plus 4 multiplied by, and now the derivative of the inside here. So the derivative of sine was cosine. So multiplied by cosine of 3x squared plus 4 multiplied by, and then the derivative of 3x plus 4. And since 4 is a constant, the derivative of 4 is 0. And by using the power rule, the constant times power rule. So 3 times 2 is 6, and then the degree of the x gets lower, so it's just 6x. And now we multiply everything out, so we'd get, okay, so we get the derivative to be negative 6x multiplied by sine of 3x squared plus 4 times cosine of 3x squared plus 4. And this is the answer. Okay. Hopefully you got that question correct. And now let's move on to the next one. Find the derivative of tangent of cosine of 5x squared. So yeah, solve for that. Try and find that derivative. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused the video, and let's get started. So on the outside, we have tangent, so we find the tangent of that. So it's, from before, we know that the value of tangent is secant squared. So, actually, let's write this down. Y equals, the work just seems better. So y equals tangent times cosine of 5x squared. So y prime, or the derivative of y, we have secant squared multiplied by the inside term, so cosine of 5x squared. And now we find the derivative of here. So first we need to find the derivative of cosine. And cosine, if you remember from before, is just negative sine. So negative sine multiplied by 5x squared and now you multiply it by the derivative of the inside. So we end up getting 5 times 2, 10x. Okay, and now if we multiply everything out, we get our answer to be negative 10x times secant squared times cosine of 5x squared multiplied by sine of 5x squared. And this is our answer. I forgot to include the parentheses. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Find the derivative of the square root of sine of 4x squared minus 1. So pause the video and try and find the derivative of that. Okay, hopefully you've unpaused the video by now and solved. So let's get started. First, let's write down y. So y equals the square root of sine of 4x squared minus 1. So y equals the sine of 4x squared minus 1 and this is just from our square root property. So x squared, the square root of x, the square root of x just equals x to the power of 1/2, and let's say the cube root of x equals x to the power of 1/3. So now we find the derivative. So first we apply the power rule, first of all, so we can start working on the inside. So you can kind of like think about this as 1 times this, and we have to find the derivative of that using the chain rule. So we're still working from the outside in, but this time we need the power rule. So the derivative of y prime, or y, is 1/2 times and then it's 1 minus 1/2 because of the power rule, so negative 1/2. And now we multiply it by the derivative of sine of 4x squared minus 1. So the derivative of sine is cosine. So it's cosine of 4x minus 1. And now we multiply it by the derivative of 4x minus 1. So we multiply it by 4. 8. Because this is squared. 8x. And now we multiply everything. So there's still a lot of simplifying left to do. So first and foremost, the 1/2 times 8x, and we also have to do something about the exponent there. So 1/2 times 8x equals 4x times 4x times sine of 4x minus 1 to the power of negative 1/2 times cosine of 4x squared minus 1. Okay, and now you do something with the radical. So since these are all just terms, so like this is a term, hang on, I need to just define what the terms are. That's a term, this is a term, and this is a term. So technically I can multiply with this term and that term. So I'm going to move, I think it was the pink term. So I'm going to move the pink term down since that entire thing is the power of a negative number. So sine of 4x squared minus 1, that's the denominator. And for the numerator, it's 4x times cosine of 4x squared minus 1. Okay, let me just tidy this up here a little bit. Okay, and this is to the power of 1/2. Okay, and now your teacher might say that that's okay, but I'm just going to go one step further, and I'm just going to write the bottom number in the term of a square root. So this would equal 4x times cosine of 4x squared minus 1. And that's over sine of and that's over the sine of 4x squared minus 1. And this is our answer. Yeah, and that's going to be part 4 of the series. I'm going to do part 5, and just to give you an idea of what the next question could look like if you want to watch, the next question that I'm going to be going over is, I'm thinking over right now, probably something like, what is the derivative of sine, hang on, there's a parenthesis in the beginning, the sine of tangent of 3x squared plus 2 raised to the power of 4th. And this is going to be the easier one of the 4 questions. So I might do a 4 or 5 layer chain rule, but yeah, this is going to be one of the easier ones. So if you want to solve this question and then watch it in the next video, you're completely welcome to. But yeah, thank you for watching.